Hi, I'm Sam Hossack. I'm the president of the Graduate Students Association at the University of Calgary, and I'm here with the president, Elizabeth Cannon, to tell her story for the 50th anniversary. Why did you choose the University of Calgary?
You know, I grew up in Prince Edward Island, so I'm from the East Coast originally, and I went to Acadia University as my first degree, stayed in the Maritimes, had a great experience, small university, but you can't finish your engineering degree at Acadia. You could do effectively the first couple of years, and I did 3 years. I did a math degree in there too. I was on the swim team, had lots of fun, but then I had a decision to make. I had a brother and sister here. There was a new program here called Geomatics Engineering. And so I put all that together and said, okay, I'm going out to Calgary. I want a bigger city experience. I want a bigger university experience. And this seemed like the logical place to come.
What was it like coming from PEI to Calgary, which is almost the same size, and coming to a brand new campus?
So coming here, you felt you were in a hustling, bustling, growing place that was bigger but still finding its voice, that it was sort of emerging, if you will, as an institution. So I found that quite exciting. And also I lived in residence my first year here in Rundle. So I got to meet people from across the country, people perhaps I wouldn't have met having lived in the Maritimes. So it was all very new, very fresh, but really exciting for me. When I graduated in 1984, there really weren't a lot of opportunities here. It was a real downturn in terms of hiring and the economy overall. I was very fortunate that I actually got a job in Calgary doing really interesting work and work that I wanted to do. So that's kind of what kept me here. I worked at a small high-tech company in Calgary. It was actually a spin-off of Shell. I found it very exciting because that's where I got exposed to GPS technology. And so to get at the forefront of a technology really motivated me to come back to the University of Calgary to do my master's and ultimately my PhD.
What was it like to be coming back to be a student, and what kinds of things did you do or do differently as a student the second time around?
I was married by that time. I actually got married just this summer before I came back. So yes, I had to act mature, I had to be mature. I was at a different phase in my life. I found that really exciting to really immerse myself in something very deep and to grasp it at its most fundamental level.
So what was it like the first time you got up in front of a class that you had potentially taken the same class and now you were teaching it?
You know, it was really scary because I remember thinking, do I know enough to give a lecture for 50 minutes? Like, what am I going to talk about? It's a huge responsibility. You really need to know your stuff. So yeah, I put a lot of work into getting ready for that and really feeling humbled by the opportunity to get in the classroom and try to teach something to students that hopefully would grow their passions around engineering and geomatics engineering. So a little bit overwhelming at the start, but you know, shortly thereafter you start to find your rhythm, you start to read the classroom and the students and what's working and what's not working, and I found it really exciting.
So what was it like to be a professor at the front of the class, one of the first female faculty?
So when I joined engineering, I was actually the second female faculty member. So I remember about 3 or 4 years into my tenure as an academic where I was teaching my first computer programming course to engineering students, and there were about 140 students in the room, mostly men. And I walked in about 5 minutes before the class was about to start, and 4 young men jumped out of their seats and looked at me, and they were ready to run out the door. And they asked, "Is this computer programming?" And I said, "Yes." So they sat back down. But it really just dawned on me at that moment that they thought they were in the wrong room. They did not think that a female faculty member would be teaching them computer programming. And that made an impression on me in the sense that, boy, it's as important for me to be seen and to be a role model for the men as it is for the women in the class. And that was key because I had women who graduated from engineering even after I joined who said, "You were the only female faculty member I had. I did not have any female faculty members teaching me engineering subjects throughout all of my programs." So it is important. I took it seriously and I think helped in the sense of engaging and emerging in issues around women in science and engineering, which I've always been very passionate about.
So is that one of the things that motivated you to become Dean of Engineering?
I think in part, after a while, whether you're the first female Dean of Engineering or the first female president, you don't do it for those reasons. But on the other hand, you don't want to say, I shouldn't do it for those reasons as well. And that sort of comes along with the narrative, so be it. And if it empowers people, so be it. But it does give you a mantle and a voice and an opportunity to either in a vocal way or in a very subtle way impact others.
What made you decide to be Dean?
Well, I think, you find in your career that sometimes literally you're swept along. I was never going to be an academic. I came back to do my graduate work always thinking I was going to go back into industry. So an opportunity actually came up as I was finishing my PhD where NSERC, the Natural Sciences and Engineering Research Council, wanted to encourage more women into faculty positions precisely to be role models. I was nominated by the University of Calgary, I was successful, so I joined faculty because of that program. That kind of started to progress a career, first being a department head, getting a sense of what my leadership style was, and it was through that the deanship became open, and I was encouraged to consider it as an opportunity. And I'm the type of person that if you want to see change or drive change, sitting on the sidelines and telling others how to do it probably is not really perhaps as brave as you need to be. So if you want to see change, jump in and roll up your sleeves and get on with it. And that's what it was all about.
Did you feel that you had the ability to make a big impact on the campus and to grow its own development?
What I like about the University of Calgary is that being young, we are still nimble. We have an energy about us, we have a flexibility about us, and we're open to new ideas. So I think it's empowered me as a president, but I think it's empowered people right across this campus.
So what is something that you're most proud of the university for accomplishing, whether it was during your tenure as president or someone else's?
It's been humbling for me this year being president of the university during the 50th because I've been around for a long time as a student, as a faculty member, and as administrator, but you really have an opportunity to step back and say, okay, what we're celebrating this year is the culmination of literally decades of work and inspiration of so many who have worked on campus, studied on campus, supported the campus. And that mix of what was here in the early days, what has been added as layers and layers to tell the story of the University of Calgary, that's what makes it powerful. To me, it's the pace. When you step back and say where we came from to where we are, wow, I don't think that could happen in too many other places. And it happened because of the place that we're in, that's Calgary.
The concept for this new development of the engineering building began when you were Dean of Engineering, and now it's finally complete here as president. What is that like for you?
It's really exciting because I don't think you get too many opportunities in your career to really see something on that level from start to finish. And I remember literally talking about it in 2007. In fact, I checked some of my notes from back then, and I remember getting on with sort of some conceptual design. We did fundraising, we raised a lot of money from the community to help support the building, and then going to government. So almost 10 years from sitting around a table to actually seeing it be real. And the best payback is walking around and seeing the students with smiles on their faces. And space matters, it's enabler, it's a positive, I think, motivator for learning. And so it's great to sort of say, okay, it was the right thing to do.
So it's an interesting space. We still have the exterior of, I think, Engineering A, one of the oldest buildings on campus, blended with the newest building now on campus. And it's, in a way, a bringing together of the 50 years on campus. Why was that so important to blend those buildings in the way that it was?
It's really designed to create a stronger community. And the only way to do that, frankly, was to renovate but expand, almost filling in, if you will, the space here with new teaching and research facilities. What I love is that some of the things that really are important to students, like right behind me, the door to nowhere. Any student who's ever studied here, you'd walk back and you have to smile because it's part of the folklore of the engineering school. So I think it's done a fabulous job of showcasing the roots of the school, where we've come from, but mixing it with where we're going as an engineering school and as a university.
If you now in 2017 could go back and say one thing to 1982 Elizabeth Cannon, what would that be?
Get ready for a great adventure. You know, you don't know where life's going to take you, but it's going to be a lot of fun.